Tonight, David Crisafulli sworn in as Queensland's new Premier. His first message to public servants.
Happening now, storms lash the southeast. Warnings of damaging wind and hail. Tony Auden is tracking the system.
Residents fight back against a would-be intruder. The teen hit over the head with a shovel.
A woman's remarkable survival after 2 weeks lost and hurt in the bush.
History made. The first direct flight from Texas to Brisbane.
And the simple new test detecting Alzheimer's earlier than ever.
Live from Brisbane, 7 News with Sarah Greenhalgh and Max Futcher.
Good evening. David Crisafulli has been sworn in as our 41st Premier, saying he's planning to get cracking on his promises.
The head of Queensland's first LNP government in a decade has already sent a bold message to the state's army of public servants.
After showing Labor the door, change is on the horizon.
Morning.
David Crisafulli hand in hand with his wife Tegan to make the historic trip, rolling past the Tower of Power on 1 William Street, setting off for 168 Fernberg Road to see the Governor.
David Frank Crisafulli, I'm pleased to appoint you Premier of Queensland.
I, David Frank Crisafulli, do sincerely promise.
The 45-year-old, now the 41st Premier of Queensland. Honoured, he says, to be leading a majority LNP government.
The responsibility of being Premier is not something I take lightly.
But after criticising Labor for years, ultimately,
It's about people.
who need safe streets and justice, with new laws to be introduced by the end of the year.
Our changes won't mean that there won't be other victims of crime. There will always be victims of crime, but there has to be less of them.
He's promised to fix the health crisis and ease housing pressures as the population booms and suburbs sprawl. The Olympics mess also on the agenda, in line for another review.
We were pretty upfront about that, and we want to get cracking.
Jared Blay has been sworn in as Deputy Premier.
We expect, at a minimum, 53 seats. Now, if this trajectory continues, even with the 53 seats, the Liberal National Party will form a majority government with more seats than the Labor Party achieved at the 2020 COVID election.
Sweeping all 3 Townsville seats.
Our community is hurting: crime, health, housing, cost of living.
I will be out there and I'm keen to represent the entire community.
You'll see a lot of faces who you know and respect and who have done a lot of work.
Referring to long-time colleagues jostling for jobs as he weighs up cabinet appointments. As he steps into the history books, David Crisafulli is firmly focused on the future, promising a fresh start and meaningful change.
We are most grateful and humbled for the opportunity.
As a very young boy, David was always very involved in politics.
The principal at his old high school in Ingham found the 1996 yearbook. The pages revealing at one point his career goal was an instrument fitter. Now he's in charge.
Let's get back to work.
Thank you.
Of running the entire state. The new Premier has tried to assure public servants that their jobs are safe. He sent an email late this afternoon telling them that there will be no cuts. The Crisafulli cabinet is expected to be sworn in later this week on Friday at Government House. Over on the losing side, Labor is licking its wounds, but once seats are locked down, caucus will meet, and then the push could be on to elevate Shannon Fentiman to the role of Deputy Leader, which won't be good news for Cameron Dick as Labor MPs make the difficult adjustment to being in opposition.
Thank you, Marlena. David Crisafulli's rise to the top began on a sugarcane farm in far north Queensland. Here's Katrina Blowers with a look at our new Premier's history. To tell the story of David Crisafulli, you need to begin in Sicily, where the adventurous grandfather of our new Premier moved from in 1960 to take up sugarcane farming in Ingham. This work ethic and thirst for betterment means Crisafulli's schoolmates swear he was always destined for leadership. He began as a newspaper and TV journo in far north Queensland in the early 2000s, before entering Townsville local government, first as a councillor, then deputy mayor. there. In 2012, Crisafulli won his first state government seat of Mundingborough, but lost it 3 years later when Campbell Newman was turfed. Moving to the Gold Coast, he returned as member for Broadwater in 2017, and then the real rise began, taking over as LNP leader after Deb Frecklington's failed election attempt in 2020. Now, here are a few other random facts. He's married to his childhood sweetheart, Tegan, with whom he shares 2 teenage daughters. He once won a spaghetti eating comp, and he played rugby union against Robbie Katter as a teenager. Crisafulli still owns that cane farm up north where he grew up, and his dad still works on it. A city premier born and bred in the bush.
Thanks, Katrina. Meanwhile, Queensland has elected a string of first-time MPs, bringing a range of backgrounds and experiences.
They include the state's first Muslim MP, the youngest female to be elected, and a high-profile advocate for victims of crime.
The new faces of Queensland Parliament, among them the state's youngest ever female MP, Ariana Doolan.
I don't believe age determines leadership capability.
The 22-year-old, the subject of a negative campaign by the Labor machine, but she believes it worked to her advantage, ousting incumbent Ali King.
I'm 22. Of course I live with my parents, and I can't afford to buy my own property in this economy and under this Labor government.
The daughter of 2 teachers, an environmental campaigner and even an actor alongside Chris Lilly.
I'm Bisma Asif, I'm 28 years old, I live in Sandgate with my husband.
Bisma Asif making history as Queensland's first Muslim MP.
I represent modern Australia.
Holding the seat for Labor after the retirement of Sterling Hinchcliffe. The former advisor to the Federal Aged Care Minister speaks 4 languages, including Punjabi. North to Townsville.
They're excited for change.
Natalie Ma, former councillor, tried once to unseat Labor's Aaron Harper, this time riding the blue wave that swept the city.
We've had 10 years of horrible crime. It started off as opportunistic crime and it has ended up in violent, aggressive behaviour. That's because there's been no consequences.
Russell Field became the face of the crime crisis. His son Matthew, daughter-in-law Kate and unborn grandson Miles were killed when a teenager out on bail crashed into them in 2021.
Their deaths can't be in vain. Something good has to come out of this. And this, we hope, is that time where we can make a change.
Ousting Labor's Don Brown, who described youth crime as a media beat-up, his advocacy driving the LNP's adult crime, adult time policy.
I'm gobsmacked.
The incoming Capalaba MP says while crime remains his focus heading into Parliament, he'll also advocate to reduce congestion, another big issue for voters. Nigel Dalton crushing a 100-year Labor reign in Mackay.
Being an ex-police officer is a bit like knocking on somebody's door and not knowing what reception you're going to get.
The next door will be the Governor's house.
And Jacqueline Robson joins us in the studio now. Jackie, there are some seats that are just simply too close to call.
Max, Sarah, at least 4 remain in contention tonight. Among the most watched is Gavin on the Gold Coast. Labor's Megan Scanlon leads by just 537 votes over the LNP's Bianca Stone. In Mirani, it's a tight tussle between Katter's Australia Party candidate Stephen Andrew and the LNP's Glenn Kelly, while former Labor ministers Bart Mellish and Nikki Boyd are in a fight for their political lives, both trailing in Aspley and Pine Rivers. All 4 seats are on margins of less than 3%. Max and Sarah, no doubt, an anxious few days for those vying for a seat in Parliament.
Right, thanks for that, Jackie. Now, for a look at the weather, and Tony, we can hear that storm in this studio where they're affecting the southeast right now.
Absolutely, Max, and it's really ramped up over the last couple of hours. Now, we've seen a few shots from the newsroom here in Mount Cootha as those storms looked very ominous moving in over the city, with rumbles beginning a short time ago, followed by that heavy rain and strong winds. Hail hit us only small. Not enough to damage cars so far, but the sound on the roof is building, as Max has mentioned. It's around 3,000 residents have lost power in Brisbane and Ipswich. And on the motorway at Jindalee, thick cloud had drivers looking skywards, with small hail also hitting Redbank Plains later this afternoon. Now, here's how it's all played out. It hit the Gold Coast and Southern Ranges this afternoon, then really gathered some steam over the last hour or two here, with this narrow line hitting Ipswich a short time ago, really hitting Brisbane at the moment. The worst conditions are west of Brisbane and warnings are current there. Sarah and Max will be back soon with the forecast and latest warnings.
Thanks for that, Tony. We'll see you soon.
A young father has taken on a suspected teen thief, hitting him over the head with a shovel. Security video shows the chaotic moments that followed as he begged a nearby resident for help.
An alleged teen thief bleeding on a resident's doorstep.
Please. I need to go to hospital, please.
Beaten, he begs for help.
I need to go to hospital, bro. What happened? I stuck the scooter, bro. My head's split.
But police say that's a lie.
My head's blood.
Injuries instead caused by a fed-up father armed with a shovel who found the teen lurking in a neighbour's backyard.
He was hitting him over the head because the suspect was bleeding from the face pretty badly.
The 19-year-old had allegedly tried breaking into multiple homes across Rochdale South, including the father's, who had enough.
I was like, what's going on? And he goes, oh, this guy's breaking and entering. I've been chasing him all night.
Get the pressure on your head, man.
But after the resident called an ambulance,
So I just start walking.
No, they're going to come up here, man.
the teen decided to stumble away within minutes. He was cuffed around the corner, the dog squad taking him down. 7 News spoke to the resident who fought back, but he doesn't want to be identified. He says the reason he chased the teen down is because he's sick of young thieves. The teenager was taken to the PA hospital with a severe head injury.
I need to go to hospital, please.
At this stage, charges are yet to be laid. Jordan Quinn, 7 News.
A Brisbane landscaper who pleaded guilty to manslaughter has apologised to his victim's family in court. Billy Lee Bornstein is awaiting sentence for his role in the murder of father of two Lachlan Griffiths at Coopers Plains in January 2022. One of the co-accused, David Lee Tan, is due to be sentenced on Thursday in Brisbane's Supreme Court. Lachlan's body has never been found. Well, the marathon US election race is now entering its final sprint, with Kamala Harris hitting the crucial swing state of Pennsylvania.
While Donald Trump's return to his home city of New York raised plenty of eyebrows as he hosted a rally that's been slammed as racist and vulgar.
And I'm proud to be an American.
A former New Yorker back at home and brimming with bravado.
If we win, our enemies won't be laughing anymore. They're not going to be laughing.
Madison Square Garden. It's a spotlight Donald Trump has long craved, and the stage had been set.
She is the devil, whoever screamed that out. She is the Antichrist. Needs to be a landslide. We need to slaughter this other people.
An all-star conservative cast. Dialing up the ugliness.
America is for Americans and Americans only.
Rounding on immigrants.
But the illegals, they get whatever they want, don't they?
There's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico.
As well as political rivals past.
She is some sick bastard, that Hillary Clinton, huh? What a sick son of a bitch.
And present.
Her and her pimp handlers will destroy our country.
The vilification of Vice President Harris.
As the first Samoan, Malaysian, low IQ, former...
Had some tuning out.
Are hearing scores of lies.
Others relish the display.
Fight for Trump.
His supporters lining the streets.
MAGA, baby.
As the deep blue city turned MAGA red, some drew comparisons with the past.
There's a direct parallel to a big rally that happened in the mid-1930s at Madison Square Garden.
I don't see no stinking Nazis in here.
And all Melania saw was a chance to finally break campaign cover and join the trail. As Democrats fought it out in pivotal Pennsylvania.
Well, it's hardly Madison Square Garden, but this election won't be won or lost in New York City. This final push is about stitching together enough support in just a few swing states.
9 days to get this done.
We all want the country to go in the right direction.
This is an inflection point, really, for the rest of the 21st century.
Just what direction that is, we'll all know soon enough. In Philadelphia, David Woywood, 7 News.
We can show you tonight the moment police swooped on alleged car thieves after a crime spree in Cairns. Rachel Baxter, 16 vehicles were stolen.
Yeah, that's right, Max. Good evening to you. 4 children and 3 adults have been charged over this rampage. Police, with the help of Pol Air, tracked a stolen Prado and used tyre spikes to stop the vehicle. The driver tried to flee but was arrested. Police dogs also helped track the alleged culprits, who were charged with a range of offences from stealing to break and enter and assault.
You're under arrest for unlawful use of a motor vehicle. Do you understand?
Do not move, please. To the police side, you're under arrest. Do not move.
We've been told all stolen vehicles have been recovered. Sarah.
Thanks for that, Rachel. The company behind some of Australia's biggest fashion brands is on the brink of collapse. Mosaic Brands, which holds retailers like Rivers, Katie's, Miller's and Noni B, has entered voluntary administration. The future of its 700 stores across the country, as well as the jobs of thousands of employees, are tonight in jeopardy. All eyes were on the skies of Brisbane this morning as the first direct flight from Dallas, Texas touched down. The American Airlines service is now the longest direct flight in and out of the Sunshine State.
Straight from the Lone Star State to Australia's Sunshine State.
American 7, Brisbane ground.
American Airlines Flight AA7 flying the flag of a new partnership.
This is not only a match made in heaven, this is a match made at 30,000 feet above the Pacific.
Touching down on the tarmac just before 5 a.m, taking 16 hours to reach its destination.
How was that flight?
It was amazing. It was very nice, very smooth. Glad to be here.
The arrivals made even sweeter with Brisbane famous Brookie Bakehouse cookies.
It's cool having American Airlines fly direct into Brisbane, and help you all out. We love it.
It was comfortable. I mean, the flight crew was great and everything like that. It's just a long flight.
The American Airlines crew on board top tier, all boasting more than 40 years experience.
Bit of a career highlight, is it?
I'd say so, yeah. I have 1 year to go till I'm forced to retire, and this is probably going to be the one I remember.
The flight will operate 5 times a week each way on this Boeing 787 Dreamliner. Not only can it seat up to 244 passengers, but it can also carry up to 18 tonnes worth of freight.
The service will be boosted to 7 days a week during the Christmas period and is only scheduled until March.
We're working very hard with our alliance partner Qantas to make this flight a success so we can extend it after March.
So Queenslanders get the chance to see everything is bigger in Texas. Anna McGraw, 7 News.
Demolition crews have moved into the streets of Surfers Paradise, packing down the spectacular track for the Gold Coast 500. It took 6 weeks to build the circuit. It'll take just 2 weeks to pull it down.
We had attendance of nearly 200,000 throughout the event precinct across 3 days, which is on par with last year.
Early estimates expect the event pumped $60 million into the Gold Coast economy.
The Prime Minister's Qantas flight scandal has deepened. Now a senior coalition minister caught out. Details are next.
Suncorp Stadium caught in a truck's trail of destruction.
The bombshell drug claims from John Farnham.
And later, the Australian breakthrough, testing for Alzheimer's faster than ever before.
On 7 News, the ultimate shopping survey.
Some of the findings might really surprise people.
From supermarkets to white goods, makeup and home tech.
Where you can get the most bang for your buck.
10,000 Aussies give their verdicts. The brands voted best value for money. Only on 7 News coming up.
A truck mishap in Milton has caused a light pole to smash through a window at Suncorp Stadium. The truck's trailer, transporting a generator, rolled onto its side just after 7 this morning, pushing the pole over. The driver wasn't hurt. It did, though, cause some traffic delays around Castlemaine Street and Hughesler Terrace. The scandal engulfing the Prime Minister over his free Qantas upgrades is deepening. Opposition MPs, including leader Peter Dutton, have also been outed for accepting airline perks they say they never asked for.
It's been named the Upgrade Hotline, with claims it had one frequent caller.
The Prime Minister had a hotline to Qantas
that everyday Australians don't have.
Anthony Albanese hammered over claims in a new book he received 22 flight upgrades, some after personal calls to former Qantas CEO Alan Joyce.
That's the one that doesn't pass the pub test.
Value? Tens of thousands of dollars.
If you're sort of suggesting a transport minister shouldn't catch aeroplanes and instead should hitchhike up the Hume Highway, I don't think that's realistic.
Some were for personal holidays. Qantas business class upgrades to LA return, another to Europe return on Emirates, Rome return with son Nathan, twice to London, twice to Hawaii, but all within the rules.
This has been on the public record the whole time.
But as the coalition was pointing the finger, revelations that enjoyed the pointy end as well. Barnaby Joyce, 8 free flights. Opposition leader Peter Dutton, 14 upgrades to London, New Zealand, Glasgow and back from Singapore.
None of which happened as a result of me calling my best friend, Alan Joyce.
The opposition aviation spokesman denied any upgrade kickbacks.
I have not received an upgrade from Qantas.
But her own registry records show otherwise. 2018 flight upgrade provided by Qantas.
When 7 News later put that to Senator McKenzie, she quickly backtracked, admitting she may have accepted free flights and upgrades, but insisting she'd never solicited them.
Ethics experts calling for tighter rules.
Those allegations definitely raise alarm bells.
Many saying it's time to scrap the perk completely. Chris Reason, 7 News.
Music legend John Farnham has made startling new claims about his former manager. In new excerpts from his memoir, he says he was secretly drugged in the early years of his career. The disturbing claims centre around Daryl Sambell, Farnham's manager during the time, as a teen pop idol in the 60s. He claims the penny dropped when he saw a dissolved pill in his coffee. Farnham's memoir, The Voice Inside, will be released later this week.
It launched as Australia's first high-speed mobile network 2 decades ago. But today, the 3G network is shutting down. Telstra and Optus are ending their services nearly a year after Vodafone's switch off. Phones manufactured before 2019 are likely to be impacted, as well as other devices like select EFTPOS machines and medical alarms. To find out if you are affected, text 3 to the number 3498.
Savvy shoppers have had their say on the best value brands ahead of Christmas. And with sales about to begin, getting bang for your buck is top priority. Don't miss our special investigation coming up soon.
Also, a miracle survival. A woman bitten by a snake and stranded for almost a fortnight.
Growing calls for cost of living help from Canberra following Labor's election loss. Exclusive details.
The bizarre location police found a safe following a service station ram raid.
And the MP accused of starting a wild street brawl.
Thieves have dumped a safe on the side of a regional road as they tried to escape police. The suspects used a car to smash into the front of a Tyro service station before they took the ATM. Officers tracked them along the Bruce Highway and onto a side road where they spotted 2 men trying to get the safe into a 4-wheel drive. When officers approached them, the pair left the safe and took off.
7 News can reveal Albanese government strategists are tonight working on a string of big policy announcements to regain momentum after the Queensland election.
The Treasurer says Labor will learn vital lessons from the defeat, but new spending won't be a free-for-all.
Making it official. David Crisafulli, the new Premier of the Sunshine State, earlier on 7 Sunrise, restrained.
Do you think this is a warning for Anthony Albanese, given that that federal election's only months away?
I'm not a political commentator now.
His federal leader isn't so reluctant. Peter Dutton declaring a bad government has been swept from office.
I think it's what's going to happen at a federal level as well, because the Prime Minister has promised a lot for Australians and he's delivered nothing.
Federal Labor worried traditional voters deserted it in its regional and urban heartlands.
We won't be ignoring the lessons of Saturday.
One of the biggest to do more on cost of living.
We've been coming at this cost of living challenge from every conceivable and responsible angle.
But promises any additional relief will be responsible, insisting he won't splash the cash to buy back favour at the coming federal poll.
This election was never going to be, from our side, a free-for-all of public spending. spending.
7 News can reveal government strategists are working tonight on a series of eye-catching announcements to roll out before Christmas, aimed at recapturing voters' attention and laying out a second-term agenda. 7 News has also learned all government departments have been directed to work up new cost of living proposals, some to be unveiled in a pre-election budget early next year.
There are always things that we can do better.
Winning elections, the biggest. Mark Riley, 7 News.
One person has been killed and 40 others injured, including 10 critically, after a truck ploughed into a bus stop north of Tel Aviv. Police called it a terror attack carried out by an Arab Israeli. The attacker was shot by armed civilians at the scene. It happened on a day that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu attended an October 7 memorial. His speech was interrupted by victims' families, angry at how the Hamas attack was able to happen and a failure to bring hostages home.
A Swedish adventurer has been found dazed and injured after a weeks-long ordeal in the snowy mountains. She was located in the rugged Kosciuszko National Park, rescued after a marathon search and surviving even after being bitten by a snake.
In Kosciuszko National Park, a miracle. Swedish photographer Louise Herbury found alive after being missing for 2 weeks.
I'm just relieved that she's been found. It's great. She's a special person. She's got a heart of gold.
Described as a daredevil and expert in the bush, Kiki had been out photographing the snowy mountains Brumbies. Her rental car left at the old Kyandra courthouse, last seen driving in Jindabyne on October 15. The hire company told police they hadn't heard from her on October 21. 6 days later, she was found distressed and disorientated by a ranger in Kyandra.
She was wandering dazed through the bush and quite unwell as a result of what she believes to be a snake bite from a copperhead snake.
It wouldn't have been a very comfortable few days if she's been stuck out there after a bite with no first aid. It's potentially life-threatening.
Peter Cochrane was one of 9 people to search on horseback.
First year dealing in a search for a needle in haystacks. Just extraordinary event. She's tough.
This area is vast and rugged. There's no town and almost no phone reception. Police say it is remarkable she survived.
I wouldn't have wanted to have been out here overnight.
Tonight she's recovering in Cooma Hospital.
We just want you to just to get better and, we've got your back 100% in every way, shape or form.
Isabel Mullen, 7 News.
This is not an average street fight. The man throwing punches here is a politician. The British Labor Party has suspended MP Mike Amesbury, who's accused of knocking a man to the ground and punching him in the head 6 times.
The MP are on course, smacking someone on the floor.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. And you won't threaten the MP ever again, will you?
Amesbury claims he felt threatened and reported the altercation to police himself. He's lost that vote.
Oh dear. Australian researchers are toasting an Alzheimer's breakthrough. Coming up, how a simple blood test can detect the disease faster than ever.
A vicious dog attack on Brisbane's north side leaves a man in hospital.
The actor who didn't have to perform for this lookalike competition.
And in tonight's Sunny Side, a special reunion for these golden retrievers. A man's arm has been savagely mauled by a staffy at a storage yard in Deception Bay. Josh Prang was trying to protect his dog Kiki when the staffy latched onto his arm.
Grabbed me over the wrist and dragged me down to the ground and just went to town on my wrist.
The staffy's owners called an ambulance but then took off, leaving Josh bleeding profusely. Moreton Bay Council is now investigating, with officers trying to track the owners down.
We have some pictures now just into the newsroom of wild weather smashing the southeast. This was taken at Redbank Plains, a power line exploding as tree branches were brought down in strong winds, and residents in Wynnum captured this as storms rolled over the region. Tony will be back very soon with the latest.
Australian researchers have discovered a simple blood test to detect Alzheimer's disease earlier than ever.
They say the breakthrough will enable patients to be treated faster and more effectively.
For a disease that affects almost 300,000 Australians, advancements have been slow.
It takes about 3 years to be given a diagnosis of Alzheimer's disease, and that's valuable time that's lost.
Until now, testing for the condition involved sending blood to the United States to be assessed on specialist equipment. But in a major breakthrough, testing can now be done on standard pathology machines quickly and cheaply. The cost, just $100. The study involved 388 patients, with the simplified test proving 92% accurate. The test will become available in Australia in around 2 years.
The new test not only detects the disease itself, it also indicates how advanced it is, with researchers hoping it will help doctors choose the best treatment for the early stages.
It comes as a new Alzheimer's drug has been proven to reduce cognitive decline and is available overseas. But last week, Australia's drug regulator, the TGA, rejected its approval here. Experts want that decision reversed.
It was disappointing to thousands of people living with dementia.
In the meantime, a trial of the simple blood test involving GPs is underway in Melbourne, Adelaide and Newcastle. Karina Carvalho, 7 News.
Timothée Chalamet fans had no hope at a lookalike competition when the actor himself turned up. But it wasn't all fun and games. Event organisers were slapped with a fine. Don't miss that story. Coming up soon.
Well, sport time now, and a Lion star is staying put, Webby.
On a mammoth deal, Sarah. Hello, everyone. Ahead, why Cam Runner rejected a free agency frenzy. Plus, the Kangaroos soak up their victory after giving the Kiwis a bath. And proof miracles do exist. The Hail Mary play that must be seen to be believed.
On 7 News at 6, Queensland's 2-week wonders.
Each panel takes us about 6 minutes.
Australia's smart building revolution. Slashing construction times. Cheaper, greener.
I loved it from the word go.
The new trend that could help solve the housing shortage. Only on 7 News at 6.
As flagged by 7 News last week, star Brisbane forward Cam Rayner's rejected free agency to become a Lion for life. The former #1 draft pick's turned his back on a Victorian homecoming, inking a mammoth 6-year extension.
From top cub to Lions lifer, Cam entered the Den aged 18. He'll be 32 come the end of his new contract.
I'd rather stay at this football club and win and be in a team that I absolutely love playing for than be anywhere else.
Considered a flight risk before arriving in 2017 alongside Brisbane's second wooden spoon, Rayners recommitted before rival clubs could even try tempt him away, leaving money on the table to stay.
Before coming to Brisbane, I know there was the whole thing about everyone that came to Brisbane wanted to leave, and to really flip that on its head now, I feel like I've had a little bit to play in that, and the tiniest little bit to play in that means the world to me.
Now the world's at their feet, one flag in hand, designs on a second, and another Ashcroft on the way.
I'm just excited to, think about what's coming after the draft and just getting in there and working hard.
Said to be even more talented than his Norm Smith medalist of a brother Will, Levi's hoping to go pick one in next month's draft.
I obviously want to be the best player and recognised as that, but not the end of the world. I'm very pumped to be going to Brisbane.
Everything we did, we always were against each other. It's nice we're finally on the same team for once.
The last one's pretty good, wasn't he? So if we can keep bringing him in, that'd be awesome.
Mitch Crone, 7 News.
The Kangaroos are adamant the dreaded C word, complacency, won't creep in during their time off to recharge for the Pacific Championships final. Players left camp today, promising to reunite on Sunday with a laser focus.
Soaking up a hard-fought win. The Kangaroos enjoyed a relaxed recovery after victory over the Kiwis. The scars of last year's worst loss in history healed by the old adage, you're only as good as your last game.
I think we prepared really well and our mentality going into the game was really good. You know, we really didn't speak much about what happened last year.
The task now is not to let history repeat itself should they come up against New Zealand in the final.
It's the trap that we fell in last year. We had a good win against them in the second game and then we probably patted ourselves too much on the back and fell asleep.
The Kangaroos will now enjoy a week off. They'll reconvene in camp next Sunday on the New South Wales Central Coast before the final in Sydney a week later.
Not focus too much on footy and come back in revived and yeah, ready to get better.
In Wigan, England stars ran in 6 tries against a Samoan side packed with NRL talent for a 34-18 win.
Farmouth slicing, great ball for Radley!
The match was marred by a massive all-in brawl in the dying minutes.
Oh, it really is going up here. There are multiple scuffles, it's hard to keep your eye on them all.
In Christchurch, Jaleesa Rapps, 7 News.
With debate raging over whether his selection cheapens the Wallaby jersey, Joseph Suolihi trained with his new teammates for the first time this morning. The former Rooster could earn his first Test cap against Wales in Cardiff next month.
He's obviously an athlete, so from a broken down old forward coach, watching him at training, he's pretty exciting.
The Wallabies depart for their spring tour on Thursday. Heat quick Xavier Bartlett and Spencer Johnson will trade teal for green and gold next month, selected for the T20 series against Pakistan. That's despite Bartlett being yet to return from a side strain and Johnson only coming back from a similar injury last week.
Feedback from that was really good. He's bounced back and Xavier and Nathan are progressing really well through their return to play.
First choice Test players have been rested for the series, which comes to the Gabba November 14. Team drama's left him no chance of taking the Supercars title. Still, Brody Kostecki wants to claim more silverware for Erebus before joining Dick Johnson Racing. King of the Mountain and now the Gold Coast, he's ready to play Disruptor at next month's series decider in Adelaide.
We've been able to get some pretty cool trophies lately, so hopefully we can get the last 2.
Is it safe to say Brody's back?
It was always back. We were just, we fell a little bit behind.
Kostecki missed the opening 2 rounds of the championship due to the still mysterious conflict with Erebus owners. For the first time, the Diamonds are staring down the barrel of a Constellation Cup clean sweep. The Silver Ferns clinched the series in Perth last night, winning by a double-digit margin for the 3rd time in a row, 61-43. The Aussies must win in Melbourne on Wednesday to avoid a humiliating 4-0 series defeat. Well, they don't come off very often, but when they do, there's nothing quite like a game-winning Hail Mary in the NFL. Trailing the Chicago Bears by 3 points with 2 seconds to play, Washington Commanders quarterback Jaden McDaniels evaded defenders, then unleashed.
Here comes the Hail Mary with the game on the line, and the ball is caught! It's a miracle!
The epic 18-15 win was followed by a scarcely believable postscript. Vision emerged on social media showing Chicago's Tyreek Stevenson taunting Washington fans during the final play before sprinting toward the danger. Incredibly, it was Stevenson's hand that deflected the ball to Noah Ryan for the game-winning touchdown. Should never celebrate too early, Sarah.
That is true. That is true. Thank you, Webby. Checking finance now, the ASX 200 has closed up, gaining 10 points today. Our big miners rallied. Even Mineral Resources bounced back after weeks dogged by scandal. $1 Australian is buying 65.88 US cents.
Actor Timothée Chalamet was the talk of New York as fans came together for an impromptu lookalike contest. But they stood no chance when the actor himself crashed the party. The event was advertised on flyers around the city. The winner was promised $50, but organisers had to cough up $500 for the unpermitted costume contest. Coming up, the ultimate shopping survey, the best value brands revealed in the lead up to Christmas.
And severe storms are still smashing parts of the southeast this evening. I'll have the latest warnings and the forecast next.
Pre-Christmas sales are about to begin and getting bang for your buck is a top priority. Thousands of savvy shoppers have done the work for you, voting for brands and retailers that offer the best bargains.
It's the million-dollar question. Does paying more guarantee the best bang for your buck?
If you spend that little bit more, it's better quality, it'll last a few more washes. Sometimes you have to spend a bit more.
To find out, comparison website Finders surveyed 10,000 Australian shoppers, asking them what brands and retailers offered the best value across a range of categories, from makeup to kitchen appliances, white goods and tech.
Not only value, but performance, maintenance and ease of use.
The item that ticked every box was the Kmart air fryer. A cheap and cheerful brand from just $59 won the people's choice for value.
Absolute game changer. Yep, it's the best.
Audi's own Born label took top honours in the TV category. If you can snag one in a special buys deal, a 55-inch will set you back $429.
Value and price are not synonymous. Sometimes things at a low price point actually have a great value.
For makeup, Chemist Warehouse, where top brands are often up to 50% off, ranked highest. And while it's not available in every state, the Best Value Bottle Shop was awarded to Audi. 8 weeks out from Christmas, getting bang for our buck has never been more important, and retailers know it, with Click Frenzy and Black Friday sales just around the corner. The full list of winners in the Customer Satisfaction Awards can be found on the Finder website. Jasmine Turlings, 7 News.
Weather time now, Tony. Storm season has really kicked into gear today.
It sure has, Max. After a slow start today, this was the view from the newsroom here at Mount Cootha as a line of severe storms closed in on Brisbane. Now, jumping to the radar to see how it panned out, we had some lighter rain this morning that cleared back, giving us some clear air for those thunderstorms to develop this afternoon. They hit the Gold Coast first, then really built some steam over the last couple of hours, hitting Brisbane, currently moving north past Redcliffe and up towards Bribie Island. Our warnings have been issued through the course of the afternoon and evening, though the imminent threat has just been cancelled from the Bureau. Instead, we're left with this generic warning in yellow here, warning of the threat over the course of the next 3 hours, but watch that system as it keeps moving. It was a muggy night and day amongst some rain and storms. Greenbank reached 28 degrees. Zooming out, we've seen a few storms through inland parts of southern Queensland as well. Plenty of warnings issued, especially around St George and Roma this evening. Most of those areas have been cancelled back, apart from this area north of Gundawindi. Now, onto the forecast chart. Well, the inland trough causing those storms today weakens out, so everything stabilises, but we still have a high pressure system here, pushing humid winds, a bit of cloud and enough moisture for the odd shower and the odd storm onto the coast. That same high will keep much of the nation quiet tomorrow. Perth, sunshine, 33, Adelaide, 25, even Hobart up to 20. Back to northern Queensland, showers continuing on the north tropical coast, including around Cairns, a slimmer chance of a sprinkle in Townsville. Over southern districts, very isolated showers along the coast and ranges, then mostly sunny and hot inland. Longreach, 37 degrees. In the southeast, some early fog around, then mostly sunny, but you'll need to watch for the odd rogue storm well inland, perhaps the odd shower pushing off that activity towards the coast later on, but they'll be few and far between. A slightly cooler night and another warm day. North Lakes tracking for 29 degrees. Boaties, the wind change hits Moreton Bay around sunrise, light south-southwesterlies in the morning, wind strengthening out of the southeast into the afternoon. So in Brisbane, 17 tonight, sunshine on the way to 29, then a 40% chance of an afternoon sprinkle. Looking ahead, similar on Wednesday, then we see the chance of storms really bumping up on Thursday and Friday. In Ipswich, also stormier on Thursday and Friday, tops of 33 degrees. On the Gold Coast, also warming up amongst that storm risk, 30 on Thursday, 29 on Friday. And Sunshine Coasters, well, a couple of calmer days before that next increase in storm risk. We'll have to assess that risk day by day. So guys, a little bit happening this evening. People around Bribie Island need to keep an eye out over the next hour or two.
Plenty of action out there tonight. All right, thanks, Tony.
Now for tonight's sunny side, which is sure to make you smile. 4 puppies stolen from a home near Cairns last week when they were just 2 weeks old have been reunited with each other and the police officers who rescued them. Golden retrievers Maple, Murphy, Shep and Zen met up today to celebrate their first birthday. The gathering was also a fundraiser for the Blue Paws Association, providing critical funds to care for retired police dogs across the state.
And of course, it's not a party without a cake. This one was made up of chicken mince and sweet potato. If there's a good news story happening, we want to know about it. Email sunnyside@7.com.au.
Given that it's dinner time, that actually sounds quite good.
You must be hungry.
That's all from us this Monday. Thanks for your company.
From all the team, have a good night.
Good night.
The 7 News app will give you the news you want. Download now.